Over the past 10 years, the price of Bitcoin has risen several thousand times. At the time of writing, its price is over $30,000. This is a far cry the peak recorded in November 2021, when the price per coin was about $68,000. What allows Bitcoin to grow so high, we found out in the previous video. Watch it after this video. But is there a limit to Bitcoin growth? How fast will it grow? And will there ever be? Will it conquer the heights of $100,000, $500,000, or $1 million? Today we'll look at why Bitcoin's growth won't stop and why it has a real chance of breaking through the $1 million threshold by 2025. Founder of Pantera Capital Dan Morehead, in an interview with Yahoo Finance, expressed the opinion that Bitcoin at the moment looks undervalued. According to Morehead's prediction, within 10 years, the main cryptocurrency could rise in price to $700,000. The head of Pantera Capital pointed out that in 10 years, every smartphone owner will be using Bitcoin. Dan Morehead is one of the early Bitcoin investors. He founded his first crypto fund in 2013. Today, the company has $2 billion at $800 million in assets under management. His company made a study, the results of which show a clear correlation between the growth in the number of people using Bitcoin and its price. If that kept going, that would put Bitcoin at $700,000 when everybody with a smartphone uses it. 10 years' time is a reasonable forecast. Retrospectively, Morehead's forecasts are far from the truth at this point, as Bitcoin, having marked its peak in November 2021, has fallen by more than 40%. A similar prediction was made by Digital Assets Data co-founder Mike Alfred. In his opinion, in 10 years the price of Bitcoin will rise to $1 million. Mike Alfred is a value investor and entrepreneur with a net worth over $10 million as of 2022. He gained the most popularity on Twitter, but his business acumen made him a multi-millionaire. In other words, no matter how loud his voice is on Twitter, this man knows how to make money. Mike, in addition to Bitcoin, also invests in other crypto products. Alfred believes Coinbase is another excellent investment and is largely misunderstood by investors, and he expects the exchange to grow rapidly over the next 10-15 years. But expert opinion is after all just an opinion. Let's turn to the real facts. What development path does Bitcoin have? What will allow it to continue to gain in price? First of all, development of technology and various blockchain projects. They will make working with Bitcoin easier and faster. In addition, as the crypto market is adequately regulated, more players will enter it. Bitcoin halving will be no less important. Halving is an event when the reward for mining new blocks is halved. This means that Bitcoin miners will get 50% less for processing a transaction than before. It happens once every 210,000 blocks, which is about every 4 years, and will be halved until the network generates a maximum volume of 21 million coins. So new Bitcoins will be much, and before the last halving, very much harder to mine, and a resource that is hard to get is often worth much more. However, the most important factor in my opinion will be the price increase itself. Don't get it wrong, price alone cannot be a driver of price growth. However, the speed of its growth, the hype in the media, easier access to currency, and stories about the mountains of gold lead to inflated expectations of people, and high expectations in turn already lead to higher prices. Yes, that's not the only factor. Yes, there are a lot of things that can make Bitcoin collapse, I understand perfectly, but the facts speak for themselves. The price of Bitcoin began to grow in an avalanche when it began to talk about it massively in the media, often with exaggeration and full misunderstanding of the issue. But do not overestimate this fact. You can't get very far with just media mentions. It is very likely that over time, the direct payment function of Bitcoin will be overshadowed and its value will be solely investment. But we're living today. Today is a gift. That is why it's called the present. Now Bitcoin has an objective value, and predicting its catastrophic fall is just stupid. This can be compared to predictions of the depreciation of the dollar after the abandonment of the gold standard. Everything could change by 2025, and given the above, Bitcoin may well reach the $1 million mark by that time. By the way, be sure to watch other videos about cryptocurrency on this channel. Links are on the screen right now. See you soon.